What's up, EFD squad, and welcome back to Scout Report. Today we've got a very special one for you. 5 ways that United can become champions again. Do note, Pat wrote this script, so I might not agree with him on everything, but he does make some good points, so keep watching. 5. Appoint a director of football. For all the talk of the United way, the Red Devils seem to have no direction or identity since Alex Ferguson left the club in 2013. In that time, United have spent roughly €894 million, and a lot of that was necessary, with half of the players to see over 1,500 league minutes in Ferguson's final year, 28 years old or over. However, plenty has been frittered away too, with fees of over €25 million on flops, bad fits, or short-term signings like Fellaini, Di Maria, Depay, Schneiderlin, Mkhitaryan, Matic, Lindelof and Fred. Bit harsh on Lindelof, that. Now on their 4th permanent boss of the post-Fergie era, United keep remaking the squad for each new manager, and as a result, they have to ship out expensively acquired talent at a loss. The €15 million hit they took on Di Maria after 1 year being the perfect example. Meanwhile, ageing players like Sanchez and Falcao were handed expensive contracts, setting a precedent for real stars like Pogba and David De Gea to demand obscene wages. So the club needs guidance, someone to organise recruitment around clear objectives and to find coaches who can provide continuity and fidelity to the larger project. As good as Ed Woodward is with the balance sheet, he does not have the football expertise, so United should look to hire a director of football who could set the style of play and then find managerial and playing talent to suit that, rather than simply giving United's black card to whoever happens to be in the dugout. It's not easy to do. PSG and Man City have pumped a combined €2.3 billion into transfers since 2011, but it's taken several years and 2 exceptional coaches to give them a shot at the Champions League. Juve and Bayern managed to do it, but they can pluck whoever they want out of the weaker sides in their countries. So as much as they may hate it, United need to follow the example of Liverpool. Since Brendan Rodgers left the Reds, the club's data-led recruitment has seen them spend over €20 million 8 times on Alisson, Van Dijk, Fabinho, Keita, Mo Salah, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Mane and Wijnaldum. We make that a virtually 100% hit rate, and while they're bound to miss at some point, it's taken them from mid-table back to the top of European football. With United's resources, the right appointment could see the rebirth of a giant. 4. Right back. So who could the new director of football sign? The defence has got to come first, as surprisingly enough, it turns out that in 2019, 33-year-olds Antonio Valencia and Ashley Young are not quite Champions League quality fullbacks. Despite the summer signing of Diogo Dalot, who is 19, often injured and therefore probably not ready to be given a permanent place in the side, United remain extremely thin on the flanks, with the unwanted Matteo Darmian still serving as backup on both sides. But while this is a problem, it's also an opportunity for United to get younger, and our pick for them in the right-back slot is Crystal Palace's Aaron Wan-Bissaka. The 21-year-old has exploded this season, establishing himself as a serious rival to Trent Alexander-Arnold for England's number 2 shirt. And at 6 feet tall with plenty of pace, he's the ideal physical specimen in one of the sport's most challenging positions. And crucially, Wan-Bissaka is even more impressive in his reading of the game. The youngster ranks 2nd in the Prem and 7th in Europe for completed tackles per 90 minutes this season with 4, and when he commits, he almost always gets it right, winning the ball in 94% of the challenges he's attempted. Outrageous. That indicates a combination of anticipation and physical ability very rare at his age, and with another 2.3 interceptions each match, he can read and cut out passes too. He even wins around 60% of his aerial duels, a very solid number, and despite his aggressive style, rarely commits fouls, with just 18 in 26 appearances so far this campaign. However, his attacking side is still in development. Creating under 1 chance every 2 games is not going to set the world alight, but it's possible that that would improve in a better side. At the very least, Wan-Bissaka could help United in transition, nearing 2 dribbles completed per 90 minutes, which again is outstanding, ranking 14th among fullbacks in Europe's top 5 leagues. All of this adds up to one of the best defensive prospects in the game, and with his age and homegrown status, Wan-Bissaka is worth the huge money Palace would demand. Among rumours of interest from Arsenal and Bayern Munich, United should act fast. 3. Centre-back. As great as Kalidou Koulibaly is, he's 28 in the summer, meaning he's only worth signing if you've got a chance of winning something in the next 2 or 3 seasons. With Liverpool and City as strong as they are, that seemed unlikely, so the Red Devils are better off investing in someone a little younger. And in Matthijs de Ligt, they could have a player nearly 10 years Koulibaly's junior and perhaps just as good. Despite being 2 years younger than Marcus Rashford, de Ligt has racked up over a century of senior appearances for Ajax and the Netherlands, and in 2018 became the first defensive player of any kind to win the Golden Boy Award since its inception in 2003. At 6'2", he's already an imposing physical specimen, and he's getting stronger by the year, as shown by his aerial win rate rising from 57% last season to 65% this campaign. With protection from Donny van der Beek and Frenkie de Jong, and Ajax keeping an incredible 61% possession in the Eredivisie, de Ligt's tackle and interception numbers were never going to be spectacular, and predictably he averages under 3 defensive actions per game. However, when he does tackle, he usually gets it right, succeeding about 3/4 of the time, and most impressively, that figure is the same in the Champions League. And crucially, the Dutchman is an excellent distributor out of the back. Equally strong with both feet, he completes a massive 66 passes per game at a ridiculous 91% accuracy, about the same as Naby Keita and Paul Pogba, showing that he's vital to Ajax's build-up play. He also manages over 3 successful long balls a match, and on these more difficult passes, he still has an accuracy of 63%. That's better than Toby Alderweireld, and the same as international teammate Virgil van Dijk. Given that United's best passer from defence is Victor Lindelof, who completes only 2.2 long balls per 90 and can find his man just 46% of the time, de Ligt would be an enormous upgrade. Certain to cost a ridiculous sum, perhaps a similar amount to Van Dijk's €79 million price tag, de Ligt could still prove himself a bargain over more than a decade in the Red Devils' rearguard. 2. Right winger. We could have found a defensive midfielder for the United engine room here, but instead we've decided to fill the right wing slot. With Mata, Rashford, Martial and even Lukaku seeing minutes on the right, the team has tried to fill a round hole with an endless sequence of square pegs, and could do with a genuine wide man there in order to balance their attack. So what sort of player should they be looking for? Well, we think that the club should try and find an out-and-out creator for the position. Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford are more accomplished as goal scorers than providers, putting up a combined 5 shots per game compared to 3 key passes. And in fact, the 3 players in the squad with the best expected assists per 90 this season are Sanchez, Mata and Diogo Dalot, suggesting that the first team could use a creator to supplement Paul Pogba. With this in mind, United should take their considerable resources this summer and pay what it takes to bring Jadon Sancho to the club. The 18-year-old Englishman has had a staggering start to life in the Bundesliga, scoring 8 and assisting 10 at the time of writing, giving him a goal involvement every 90 minutes. That's a significant overperformance of his expected goals, which suggests he should be closer to 4 strikes and 6 assists, but that's still about the same per 90 as Anthony Martial and Heung-min Son, at 5 years younger than the Frenchman and 8 years younger than the Korean. Sancho also completes a truly amazing 4.2 dribbles per match, the 7th best figure in Europe this year. It's the same as Lionel Messi has managed, and while Messi completes 59% of the take-on-tee attempts, Sancho is at 64%, clearly partially a result of how much pressure the Argentinian faces, but still a sign of exceptional ball-carrying ability. While he should cost over €100 million, United could spread the cost of signing Sancho out over a long contract, and along with Wan-Bissaka, de Ligt, Martial and Rashford, he would give the club a spine which could last them until nearly 2030, and a potential Ballon d'Or winner for the first time since Ronaldo left. 1. Don't hire Ollie. Okay, so before all the ultras come at me on this one, Pat did write this script as I said earlier, but hear him out, he might just have a point. After United's spectacular resurgence in the league and miraculous Champions League victory over Paris Saint-Germain, which I'm still not over, it might seem heartless to deny Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a job which he clearly deserves. But while Solskjaer has certainly done enough to be given the position, whether he is good enough to bridge the gap between United, Man City and Liverpool is an open question, and we're trying to make United champions here. The Norwegian's appointment dispersed the fog of disquiet over Old Trafford following Mourinho's spell in charge, and Solskjaer also made the smart decision to accept the limitations of his defensive personnel and free up his talented forwards to attack at speed. That saw United's expected goals per match rise from 1.7 to 2.1, but despite a marked improvement in both halves of the pitch, the team is still defensively suspect, getting played even by Fulham, Crystal Palace and Leicester, and getting ripped apart by Spurs, All games that ended in wins, despite a cumulative XG of 6 for United and 9.6 for their opponents. Of course, good signings like the ones we've covered above would solve some of these problems, but winning the league usually takes the best squad, the best coach, an incredible amount of luck, or some combination of the three. Though another spending spree is surely in the offing, United's squad is currently valued at around €800 million, compared to 950 for Liverpool and 1.1 billion for City. And if they hire Ollie, they won't have the best squad or the best coach, essentially putting all their eggs in the Leicester 15-16 basket. Bit harsh. Even the most blinkered fan would struggle to convince themselves that Solskjaer is better than Klopp or Guardiola, and while he can give the side a solid base from which to grow, the club would have a better chance of mounting a title challenge with Mauricio Pochettino. For all the criticism of his Spurs squad for supposedly throwing away a spot in the title race, Tottenham never should have been anywhere near it, given that Moussa Sissoko and Harry Winks have seen more minutes than Jan Vertonghen and Dele Alli this season. And overperforming with limited resources is a hallmark of the Argentinians' reign in North London. When Harry Kane got injured in January, Spurs may have exited the Carabao Cup and FA Cup, but they won all 4 of their league fixtures and battered Dortmund to advance in the Champions League. A young coach who plays exciting, aggressive football and has a track record of turning talented youngsters into stars, Pochettino made Tottenham capable of beating anyone, and with United's resources, he could finally begin to fill his trophy cabinet. A director of football and the right signings could go a long way to bridging the gap between United and the top. Pochettino could do the rest. So those were our 5 ways United can become champions again. But what did you think? Were you convinced by any of those points? Let us know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this, why not stick on EFD for Stats Wars the Champions, because it's hotting up. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.